Listen, sometimes when it comes to conversations like this, we like to shy away from talking about making money and all of this. But at the end of the day, you and I know that we spend 40 hours a week,
Right.
more time away from our family working for money.
Yes, it's true.
And you and I know that when you want to go on vacation for a week, you have to request.
The time
You know?
off, right?
So we don't really have that freedom and the flexibility to do
Right.
some of the things that we love to do.
Yes.
What's going on? This is Unstuck, and welcome once again to Unstuck, what I like to call escaping the matrix. Today I'm in the studio with my brother, Marlon Francis, and we're going to be sharing with you some of the principles of Jim Rohn. Jim Rohn is one of America's top-rated motivational speakers and entrepreneur. He's also a writer, and he's not alive today, but his work is all over YouTube. And for Marlon Francis and myself, this is somebody that has been a mentor to us, even though we never met him.
Yes.
So without much ado, I'll let Marlon get it started, and I'll take it away from there.
Hey, Ernest, how you doing, brother?
Hey, I'm doing good, man.
Yeah, man. So recently I went back to my library within the YouTube. I created a library, and one of my favorite people to listen to is Mr. Jim Rohn. And Mr. Rohn has a beautiful way of articulating and communicating with his audience. And this was done years ago, but I still believe that it's extremely effective
And relevant today.
very relevant today.
Yeah.
And we're gonna touch on some of the things that Mr. Rohn spoke about in terms of goal setting.
Yes. So to get things started here, I would like to get things going with one of the principles of Jim Rohn. One time he was lecturing a class, and he said, value makes the difference in results. Value makes the difference in results. And the way I looked at it when he said that was that you cannot have more time. But if you add more value to yourself,
Yes.
the same amount of time that you have, you will be able to do twice as much in the same amount of time. So which tells me that a lot of the excuses we make in life as it pertains to our career and why we are not doing well financially really has to do with our perception of how we see the world.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, we all have 24 hours.
Only
Billionaires have 24 hours. Poor people have
24 hours. Yes.
Nobody has more time.
That's right.
So which means that for your finances to be at a place that you are comfortable with, or for you to become financially independent, one thing that is going to be your friend is you being able to add value to yourself. You know, and over again, I see so many people in life that they just follow the formal system of things, and they go to school, get a college degree, and get a job.
Right.
But the problem with that is you only have from 9 to 5 to go to work. And sometimes when they come home, they don't do anything else. They just go sit down on the couch and watch TV and repeat the same cycle over and over again.
Right.
And when it's time for them to retire, that's when they realize that they weren't able to do much with their life.
Or they could have done much more.
Or they could have done much more with their life.
Yeah.
And what I want the listeners to understand today, if you are listening out there, is that do not make your current career your end-all be-all, especially if you haven't attained or achieved financial independence. The reason why I'm saying that is this. You don't have to be stuck on the 9 to 5 rat race. You know, if you are doing that and you are happy doing it, then I mean, I can't be mad at you, because at the end of the day, what matters is not just making money, but also your happiness also matters.
This is
but
true.
if you're out there and you are working 9 to 5 and it's not helping you in any way, you are still behind on your bills, you don't even have enough to take off a month without working, then you have to find a way to add value to yourself, which is one of the things that Jim Rohn, stresses about in his talks.
In his teaching,
And,
yes.
and in order for you to do that, right now we have so many things at our disposal.
Mm-hmm.
When we talk about the internet, the opportunities that the internet brings today is crazy.
It is true.
There are teenagers making six figures just by doing YouTube videos.
Right.
Or
doing commerce on Amazon.
Or doing
Yes.
or selling stuff on Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
And there are so many ways you can get your side hustle going.
Yeah.
Don't just settle for your main job. Also have something on the side that at the end of the day, when you pay your bills, you still have something left over to invest
For the future, right?
Yes, because that's what's going to create a better future for you.
Yeah. So, some great points, Ernest, and thank you for bringing up the context of what value means. So, one of the questions that was asked, Mr. Rohn would ask his audience is, is it easier for you to live a deteriorating life, or is it easier for you to design your life? The designing of your life requires you to set goals. It requires you to be engaged in living, in participating in creating something bigger than yourself, because it leads into generational possibility of leading into generational wealth. And not just the wealth of the pocket, but the wealth of attitude, the wealth of approach to living, and the setting up of a family that acts, behave, and carries themselves in a successful way. Right. So, one of the things I don't want to do is to just exist.
Right.
You don't want to just be here.
Right.
And do the 9 to 5 like you do, which is a noble thing. I think a 9 to 5 is a noble thing. It's a wonderful thing. Some people went to school, they did their college degree, and they came out into the world to acquire themselves a position where they can make a good living and create a life for themselves. The problem that does come up at times is, how big was your goal?
Right.
How did you plan what you're going to do, and how are you going to go? Well, you plan to do something, then you go about doing it, and what will be the end result of your goal?
Right.
Is it for me to become wealthier? Is it for me to create a well-being for others, and create a platform of service to others that brings me some value and wealth? And it takes for you to have substance, man.
So when it comes to goal setting, you made a very great point there, because without you having a plan or a direction that you want your life to go, any road can lead you
anywhere,
which wouldn't be what you want. So one thing you have to understand is that you need to have a goal, and most of the time the major challenge for most people is that when it comes to goal setting, it becomes so difficult for them to come up with something concrete that they can look at and be like, this is my goal. So I'm going to give you a tip to help you identify, or to help you set a direction for your life. So in terms of setting your goals, the question you have to ask yourself is, what do you want? If you can answer that question faithfully or truthfully to yourself, then that begins the goal setting process for you. So ask yourself, what do you want? And somebody might say, I want to be financially independent. I want to be financially independent. Well, that is not a clear goal. Okay, you want to be financially independent. So how do you intend to achieve
Your financial
your
independence.
financial independence? How do you intend to achieve this? Because diving deep into these questions will help bring out the actual direction that you want your life to go, and also the steps that are going to lead you there. And another question is, what sacrifices are you willing to make
Right.
to make sure that you are able to execute your goals of becoming
So I'm listening to
financially
that.
independent.
Right. I'm listening to that. I'm looking at two sides of the coin.
right.
The young man and young woman who is in high school right now, right? And they're making decision on the choices that what am I going to do? What is the choices I'm going to make in terms of the industry that I want to work in?
Right.
And this is a part of the goal setting. The industry that I want to work in, the kind of salary that I'm projecting to make, and can I afford it? Right?
Right.
Now, when they write all these things down, and now is to now implement the plan, right? Implementing the plan is where is where the hard work comes in. Is where the real work comes in, to make sure, and the plan is the vein of the direction you're going to go.
Right.
It's important to sit down and plan. And planning doesn't mean that you have to do it by yourself.
Right.
You can either sit down with your parents, ask them questions. It's not your parents' ideas, but your own ideas of formulating your direction. Sit down with a guidance counselor. Ask the guidance counselor about the how can I say this? The projected career. What are the expectations? How long will it take me to get to my goal? Do I want to become a cardiologist,
Right.
which is not your 6 year?
And also when it comes to goal setting, I don't want the listeners to think that goal setting is all about formal education. You can be going to school right and pursuing your career choice, but at the same time, maybe there is something that you are very passionate about that has nothing to do with school.
This is true. I agree.
know,
But the
right.
point the point that I'm trying to make is, even if
Right.
say you're on the projection of you're in university and you're studying,
Right.
and you come across merchandise that you have the ability to sell while you're in college, so you can make some extra monies, and you can do a side hustle, so to speak,
Right.
while you're in college. By all means, I strongly believe that if you put a plan in place and that plan is working, more than likely the skill set of planning, that alone is something that will become a part of you, which is a skill itself,
Right.
that you have developed, that you can take on other responsibilities without hurting the initial plan,
Absolutely.
right? And I think that's the power of the goal setting, is that you are now developing a new set of skills
All right.
to take on other projects while you're doing your studies. And it goes the same thing for the person who has left university, is doing the 9 to 5, and is recognizing, listen, after planning, after going through university, and I'm now out, whatever I have is I have more goals and I have more desires to go to new places,
Right.
to go to other places. There are things that I love to do, yes? And what I am doing right now cannot allow me to do that.
Right.
So you set new sets of goals and a new set of plans in place in order to get there. One of the things that I want to stress, and one of the things that I love about what Mr. Rohn spoke about is, what is your reason? What is your reason? What is the thing that will turn you on to change your projection and to change your attitude and to change your behavior in reaching to another level? Because you initially, when you started talking, you spoke about value. The value. This was a hard.
Value makes a difference in results.
Right. And one of the hard things I heard him said it was a punch to the gut for me.
Right.
He said, "You do not get paid by the hour.
You don't get paid for time.
You get paid for your skills.
You get paid for
So the
value
skill
bring to
you
the marketplace."
choose
Yeah,
determines the amount of money that you get." And I'm like, oh my God.
absolutely. And most people don't get that. And funny enough, there are so many people in life today, they work so hard. And most of the time, the people that do the dirty work, they get paid very little. You know, and the people that do like, the people that direct or supervise those who do the hard labor, they
Right.
end up, you know, getting paid more. So at the end of the day, like, you have to ask yourself, how can I add more value to myself
Right.
in order to make more money? You know?
Or I know we're stressing the money part,
Right.
but I want to stress on the value part,
Right.
the personal development part of it.
Right.
That as you're setting the goal, as you put the plan into motion, and then what it forces you to do is come out of your comfort zone. You're going to be led to speaking to people that you never thought you would be speaking to.
Right.
You will have to go to office buildings in places that you never thought that you would be in.
Right.
You will you might have to take your shoes off and walk through the mud
Right.
to get to where you need to get to. One of the illustrations that Mr. Ron used is that who are the people who will take the opportunities when they come? The rain has fallen. Two guys, they're
Right.
salesmen, right? One says it's raining. Everybody's home. I'm gonna stay home.
Right.
Another guy says it's raining.
Right.
Everyone is home. Let me go and knock on some doors.
He said everyone is home. Let me go knock out some doors, because he knows that,
Everyone will be home.
especially the salesman.
Right, so he has no competition.
Right.
So it also speaks of you breaking away from habits of procrastinating.
And not just that, like becoming an above average person.
Yes.
You know, because in order for you to become an above average person, you have to do things that the average person won't do.
Yes.
You know, and that is what most people don't understand. Because if 1% of the people living in the world have all the money,
Yes.
it means that what is difficult is to be broke.
Yeah.
What should be easy to do is to be rich.
Mm.
Because there is no competition at the top. The top is not crowded.
It's not
It's
crowded.
lonely at the top. It is the bottom that is crowded, which means that everybody is doing things the same way at the bottom. So the question now becomes, what are the people doing who are at the top? What are they doing that is allowing them to amass wealth? Because, listen, sometimes when it comes to conversations like this, we like to shy away from talking about making money and all of this. But at the end of the day, you and I know that we spend 40 hours a week,
Right.
more time away from our family working for money.
Yes, it's true.
And you and I know that when you want to go on vacation for a week, you have to request
The time
you know?
off, right.
So we don't really have that freedom and the flexibility to do
Right.
some of the things that we love to do.
Yes.
And which is a trap which I believe is a trap that we have found ourselves in, or we put ourselves in.
Right.
And if we don't see it as a trap, then it's going to take a long time for some of us to really break free from that trap.
Right, right.
Because don't let nobody deceive you. Money is a good thing.
It is.
Money
It's
is
a-
a
it-
good
it
thing.
is a good
Money
thing.
will give you options. Money will allow you to spend more time with your family. Money will allow you to take vacations and go and see very beautiful and nice places that will be good for your heart. Do you understand?
Yes.
Working 40 hours a week, working double 2 jobs just to get by. Those are the things that will cause you to die early. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, yes,
So
yes.
At this point, at this era that we are in right now, if you are listening to us right now, you have to understand that, listen, money is not the root of all evil. The Bible says the love of money. It is the love of money that is the root of all evil, not money being the root of all evil. So if you love money to the point that you will kill somebody just to acquire that money, then it's not good for you. But if you are willing to go out there and work hard
Right.
to make money, so that you will have options, you can eat whatever you want to eat, drive whatever you want to drive, live wherever you want to live, then that is good for you.
So in other words, you're saying, if you should make that million,
Right,
but the million is not the reason why you're doing what you're doing.
right,
But what you're doing is because you love what you're doing and it gives you a tremendous amount of joy.
right,
That even with the $1 million in the bank account,
right,
that's not the focus,
right.
right? You're finding the satisfaction of.
So I think you are talking about at the end of the day, like what is the most important thing, which is being
Happy.
Happy.
Yes.
You know, happiness is the main goal for, I believe, every human being.
Right.
Every human being wants to be
To
happy.
be happy, right?
So at the end of the day, you getting money is not the end all be all.
All right.
You know, it is not what you get out of life that gives you value. It is who you become in the process
Yes.
of getting that money.
Of acquiring the goal.
Or acquiring that goal.
Yes,
Who
yes.
you become in that process, that is what makes or defines who you are. You know, so at the end of the day, whatever you are doing right now, understand that the journey is more important than the end goal. The end goal is going to come regardless. But what you become in the process, do you want to become a devil in the process of acquiring your, getting to your goal?
Right.
Or do you want to be loving and caring
Right.
in the process of acquiring your goal?
Goal, right.
Or
What is it
achieving
making
that
you
success?
become, right? And as you're on the journey, you must look at what you're becoming
Right.
in your character.
Right.
Your character must shine. It must.
You know, I know people in Africa, police officers, nothing good at all to write about them, because in the process of them achieving success, what they have to become in order to do that, you know, they take bribes from citizens. They do all types of things that are illegal to the system,
Right.
just to get extra money. To have, you know, to be able to drive what they want to drive and live where they want to live, and all of that.
Right.
So the question you have to be asking yourself, like Marlon said, like, what are you becoming in the process of achieving whatever goal you've set for yourself?
So I want to touch on a couple of things that I would love to leave you guys with that will definitely help you on the journey. And there are three things that I remember Mr. Rohn stressed that we should take care of, and these are these are ideals, and these ideals are important to be backed up with some philosophies that will keep you on track, right? So first, you must have an economical plan. You must understand your economics. If you're in college, your parents are not wealthy, you can't go off about just buying the most expensive shoes to buy and the nicest shirt you can get your hands on. But you must manage the small things that you have. One of the things I love about personal development, most of the people that I listen to, they say start small. It's okay to be small. Learn how to start off with your goals in a small way, and what that will do, as you repetitively meet those goals, it will build your confidence.
Right.
It will give you some self-value and worth and belief in yourself that you're capable of. And once you're capable of, then when you're tackling your taking care of your economics, making sure you meet all your goals economically, the next thing you do is, I always tell my students when I'm teaching my Sunday school class, I take my diary or my journal, my journal with me, and it's a nice hardcover journal, but I will splurge on the pen. And the reason why I splurge on the pen is this statement always gets me: the power is within the pen. So I would spend $50 or more on a pen, a nice fountain pen. if you see my pen, you would really be impressed by my pen. And I do that with and I took this advice from Mr. Rohn. He says, write it down, make a checklist, and as you're meeting those goals, take joy in checking it off.
Right.
Feel the motion of the pen going like, I did it.
Right.
I did it. I remember when we were going to when we were in high school, and we did an exam, and I know that they're using scannertrons now and they pour the holes. But I remember when our teachers used to use the pen and put the check mark. It was the greatest feeling in the world.
That's true.
Am I lying, man?
Nah, that's true.
Me not lie, brethren.
Yeah.
It was the greatest feeling in the world. So I took on that attitude and I checked off my when I meet my goal,
Right.
and I'm like,
Check it out. It feels good, to be
It
honest.
does,
It
it
feels
does.
good when you have something that you are working towards.
Yes.
And you see that goal come to fruition. Like that is an amazing feeling.
Right.
You know, an example for me will be when I came to the US. I gave myself 5 years to go to college and become a manager in a hospital.
Yeah.
I don't care what department I work for. I just wanted to become a manager.
Yeah.
And I was able to achieve that goal exactly in 5 years. You know, and to finally achieve that goal, like, it was a breath of fresh air.
May I say something? Did you need anyone to pat you on the back, man?
No, I did not, because at the time, Jim Rohn taught me something that, you know, really stuck with me. Jim Rohn said he used to carry a list with him that he calls reasons for not doing well.
Yeah.
And one day his mentor asked him to come over, and his mentor asked him that, Jim Rohn, why is it that
Your bank account is...
for so long you've not been doing well? And Jim Rohn said he reached in his pocket and grabbed
to cut his list.
that this is the time that, you know, he can read out this list to his
Yeah, I remember
his
that
mentor.
piece. I remember that piece.
And he said the reasons why he's not been doing well is because of the economy. And he went on to say the government is the reason why he's not doing well, the weather, you know, blame some of it on his parents, blame some on, if this is how much they pay, how do you expect me to, you know, to do well if
Right.
this is all they pay?
Right, right.
And those were the things that when he was growing up, he thought those were the things that were holding him back from becoming successful.
Yes.
And his mentor told him that there's one thing that he's missing on his list. And Jim Rohn said, well, what is that? And his mentor said, you are not on the list.
Take a look in the mirror, right? Yeah.
So that was when the light bulb went off for Jim Rohn, and he understood right there that everything that he has been blaming for preventing him from achieving that success that he wanted is not really the cause of his problems.
But Ernest,
And
in all fairness,
the real cause of his problem is himself.
right? In all fairness,
You know, and today, let me finish
Yeah,
that
yeah,
thought.
yeah,
And
go ahead,
today,
go ahead.
so many people, I know so many people that fall in the same basket. I used to think like that too. You know, growing up, I used to think, you know, if only I was born in a wealthy family, why wouldn't I do well?
right?
You know, if only my brothers and sisters were born somewhere in the Western countries and they are sending me money, why wouldn't I do well? You know, why wouldn't I do well if I went to the best school in this country? Why wouldn't I do well? So those were the excuses that I've been using all my life until I met Jim Rohn. You know, and when I understand that, listen, the government is going to remain the same.
That's
the
true.
economy is going
It's
to
gonna
remain
remain the same.
Nothing is going to change for you.
Your paycheck.
Your
gonna-
paycheck is going to remain the same
That's
if
right.
you don't change. So understanding that for my life to change, I have to change. That was what did it for me. Because going forward, I don't have to put that responsibility on anybody else. I can man up, put on my big boy pants,
Yes.
and take that responsibility on.
I agree with you
You know,
100%,
and that
bro.
was what I did, and that really made a big difference in my life.
We are we are completely responsible for our lives.
Absolutely.
And and that is a first sign of maturity on our part. As an individual, as a person, you must be responsible for your life. And I say this from my loins, man. If you are listening to us, if you have an opportunity to listen to this podcast, and I want you to hear me, and I want to be extremely clear, you are responsible for your life.
Right. And I also want to say this, that you are the sum total of all the choices
That you make,
and
yes.
decisions that you have made from your infancy to this point.
Yeah.
You know, so whatever is going on with you in terms of your finances, in terms of your health, in terms of your
faith,
your faith,
your your marriage,
it's as
yes.
a result of the choices that you are
Yes,
making.
yes.
So you have to look yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, what choices do I have to make today to take me in the direction of my goals?
Right.
That is the question you have to ask yourself. Because guess what? If you play out the last 5 years, the way you lived your life the last 5 years, if you live that same life for the next 5 years,
It's going to remain the same.
you're going to get the same results.
That's right.
But if you make a change in the way you live for the next 5 years, you're going to see a tremendous difference in the things that you're able to accomplish.
You know what? To not move away from that point, but to add to that point, is if you don't know, we have an expression, if you don't know, ask somebody. It is within the asking. It is within the asking that you get to move to another level. And the asking looks like this. You can go to the library and get a book
Right.
that will inform you of some new ideas about finance, about marriage, about health, about raising your children, about how to become a better leader and not a boss on your job. And then you can even dive even more into your own personal development on your job and acquire some new skills, like you work in a hospital. The community that we live in this Brooklyn, New York diaspora, Spanish is very prevalent.
Right.
Learn some Spanish. Learn some Spanish, because a lot of the people who come in that we take care of, they're of Hispanic descent, and communicating can be difficult, especially if someone is in pain or doesn't know how to they're expressing their painful emotions in a way that people are not recognizing how to. You can acquire those skill sets so that you can recognize how to best serve someone,
Right.
and to be better in service to someone. And that's a responsibility to oneself. It's the first sign of maturity on our part, and not waiting for someone else to do it for us, but we can do it ourselves, or even be a part of a team and be an active participant to make the team better.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Do you have any final words before we wrap up?
Yes, I do. As you're listening to us, when you set the goal, you have to work hard. That's the hard part. As you start to work hard and you start to repeat working hard will become easier, because now you're beginning to develop new skill sets, new attitude towards work, towards yourself, because you're developing yourself to become your best self. You will look in the mirror and you will begin to appreciate what you bring, not only to yourself, but to the rest of the world. Your presence becomes more valuable, because now others will depend on your abilities and your skill set. Think and plan very carefully what it is that you want to do, and go and execute.
With that being said, we bring tonight's episode to an end. If you are watching on YouTube, please subscribe. If you are watching on Facebook, please go ahead and like and follow our page. And we would like to hear from you. Leave us your comments, your thoughts, whether you agree with us or not. And until next time, remember, don't be a follower, be a student. My name is Unstuck. Thank you for watching.